Hey everybody, and welcome to Manila. In this video I'm going to take you on a walking tour through Tondo and Divisoria, and it's a bit of a night walk as I'm heading back to my hotel in Ermita. And I thought I'm going to do a quick raw and unfiltered video on my first impression here in the Philippines. Let's get started. This was my best friend here. Adventurous and funky things. Bring an umbrella. Hey. $10 or $20 budget. Jana's log. I have to give a special mention. Wow, that is beautiful. Very musical. This is the healthy option. Hello.
Hello.
See you later in the traffic. How are you? It's Jakarta-esque. A cold Cobra?
Cobra, yeah. 25 pesos.
You have a cold one?
Cold one. You know understand Tagalog?
No, unfortunately. No. I need to learn, huh?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Super 20.
Oh, what's yours? What's yours?
20.
20.
I think Manila is an absolute mega city, and there's so much happening in the city. There's 23 million people living in the wider metropolitan area of Manila. And that makes it almost a little bit overwhelming. It might at first appear a little bit hard to navigate, but with Google Maps, that was not an issue. Google Maps was my best friend here to just find my way around. If you ever get lost or you're not sure what the best way is to your next destination, just ask the locals. They're super helpful, and they always help you out. One thing I thought is important to note is that there's so much to see in Manila, and even just after one day, I realized that I need much more time here in Manila, and I'm going to take that time. So over the next few days and weeks, I'll be posting a whole bunch of videos on all the things that there is to see here in Manila. Many travelers and tourists tend to go immediately to the islands. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to spend a lot of time here in the city. There's so much to explore, and I'm going to share that with you. Now, the traffic in this city is absolutely insane. I'm lost for words to even describe, but it's Jakarta-esque, I would say. Now, one way to get around is the jeepneys. There are 75,000 estimated jeepneys here in the city. Another thing I thought was really interesting is the colonial influence by the Spanish. You definitely feel it, especially in the older parts of Manila. The houses, the architecture, even the food is heavily inspired by the former Spanish colonizers. And even the language, ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? is very, very similar. I was already able to visit a number of beautiful churches here. So when you come here, you're going to be amazed about the architecture of these churches and all the older townhouses, some of which have been restored, others are still pretty much dilapidated, but definitely worth seeing. Another impression I got here was on the weather. So far I was pretty lucky with the weather, but the weather's also unpredictable. I'm here in the summer. This is the rainy season here in the Philippines. So far I've been lucky because the weather was mainly sunny, but I did get some showers during the day, and it's also raining in the evenings. So make sure when you come here, bring an umbrella. You never know. I'm certainly going to get one now. What I thought was interesting is that while the city is generally very chaotic, people still have a way to organize things in a very orderly way. They line up, they queue up, and they're very polite. It's definitely considered rude to cut lines. Like in many other countries, you may see people just kind of cutting lines, and that's obnoxious. You're not going to see this here in the Philippines. And I read that there's a law that allows pregnant women and persons with disability to cut the line. And that of course makes a lot of sense. And people treat each other with respect, which is, I think, always a good thing. Now, another point I want to make is around the prices. Things are extremely cheap for foreign travelers. Now, of course, for locals, that's different because they earn their money in the peso, the local currency. But for foreigners, I have to say the meals and the transport and the living costs are extremely affordable here in the Philippines. And I'm always amazed of how much you can actually get for $1 or $2. So $10 or $20 budget can take you really far here in Manila. And depending on your choice of accommodation, you may spend another $30, $40 on the low end. Another thing I found here were a lot of street performers. Filipinos are very musical and talented, and I saw a number of street performers, singers, and musicians with guitars that were really astonishing. Excellent musicians, and I truly enjoyed them. So before I continue with my list, I'm gonna head home now in one of the tricycles back to my hotel. See you later in the traffic. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
How are you?
Kumusta? Hello. Hey. Yes.
Hey,
Hello. Hello.
Hey, my friend.
Mr. Gab. Hey. Hello. Hey.
Vlog.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey, bro. What's your name?
Jana's vlog.
Janice.
Yeah. Welcome. Hey. Hello.
Asa yung pera ko?
Hello. Wow, that is beautiful. Hey, how are you? Kumusta ka? The one thing that is really great here in Manila is that pretty much everybody speaks English, or most people do. And that makes it so much easier to get into conversations and to learn more about the people here and local culture. And of course, we can't talk about the Philippines without mentioning the excellent food here. In my short time here, I was already able to sample quite a bit of that, and check out my other videos if you want to learn more about my food adventures here. Obviously, Filipinos love food, and so do I. And the food is cheap and excellent. Make sure you sample all the really good street food that is available, and also some of the more adventurous and funky things that are on offer here. So far I haven't been disappointed. It's really all very delicious. The one thing that you have to pay attention to a little bit is that there is quite a bit of pork everywhere. So make sure to ask the street vendors in the restaurants what the ingredients are of your dishes. With chicken and veggies, you're always fine. But sometimes they put pork into the dishes. So you want to make sure that you know that beforehand, and you can avoid that if you don't eat pork. I have to give a special mention to all the really delicious fruit juices and shakes that are on offer here. They only cost pennies and are absolutely amazing. This is the healthy option to all the sodas that you normally get here. And I highly recommend you check them out. Now a word on transport. Transport is tricky here because the traffic is just insane in Manila. Your best bet is public transport. Either take one of the tricycle taxis, the tuk-tuks, or go with a Grab. The Grab is obviously the more expensive version, but it's also by far the safest option. The most fun way to get around might be the jeepneys, and that is also the cheapest. That is what the locals use. The jeepneys are a really cool and colorful way to get around here. There's an estimated 74 to 75,000 jeepneys driving around here in the metropolitan Manila area. And it can at first be a little bit confusing to find your way around and to know which jeepney goes where. The best bet is just to ask them, and they will usually point you to the right direction. The last point I want to make is about the Filipinos themselves. They're super friendly, and I had so much fun getting into conversations with them and learning a little bit more about the culture, the food, and the good vibes that they have here. And no matter where I went, I was met with friendly smiles. It was just a pleasure to chit-chat and to learn more about the Philippines here. Okay, it's here. Yeah.